The first thing you do after reincarnation is to break open the bedboard of the dilapidated house. Like a wild beast clawing downwards, a solid life force bursts out from 3 meters deep underground, only because you were too careless in the previous life. In the middle of the night, a demon cultivator broke in, turning the place upside down, ultimately falling into a pit with no bones left. Already living a life of a lifetime, you can barely set up a trap for the beasts, and still can't avoid the half point of the storm. Or is it that you do not want to fill the pit with poison? Still in front of you, the formation is triggered. If there is a demon cultivator with short sight, they will half-step into the house. You will be mercilessly killed, turning into a good flower. The deep pit is like a blazing star. The air is filled with the smell of burnt flesh and soil. The morning sun is dying, leaving behind a fine iron mark. The double pain in the limbs cannot be suppressed. He bit his tongue and swallowed it. The demon mark is about to break on the solid stone. The strong counter-shock force pushes the wooden board forward, shaking him to the point of spitting out blood. How many need to be opened? The water and the stone powder flow into the eyes. His heart is in pain. He can't even dare to pull it out, only able to resemble a machine without feelings. His heart is clear, absolutely cannot stop at this ghostly place. Stopping down means being caught by the trap, even directly losing his life. Directly to the present, the ghostly mark of the morning sun still has a bit of warmth. 3 days ago, he was still a worker in the night shift. With a blink, he arrived at this dangerous realm. He has not become a pure celestial yet. No old man is at the door to collect the fee. Directly transformed into the lowest level of demon cultivator. In this place, he has no authority. In the eyes of the demon cultivators, they are not as good as the dogs raised by the sect. Just pure waste. Every day's task is to be at the mercy of the demon cultivators. No day, no night, just grabbing the demon stone, not being able to open the gathering point, only able to grab the food, re-grabbing the mountain to fight the monster, not far from the burning fire. A sound of a scream, tightly following the incoming killing. Supervision. Zhao Tishan is wearing a black robe with a belt. He walked over with a heavy step. He filled his stomach, only has the energy of 3 layers. In front of the demon cultivator, but it is a general existence. A weak demon cultivator is really not to be underestimated. Relying on the cliff, he gasped. He is really good at hitting the mouth. Zhao Tishan does not speak. A demon cultivator has passed. The demon cultivator's thin robe is torn. His back is pulled out with a deep visible mark. All the people are in a state of collapse. That weak demon cultivator can't withstand the pain. Continuously rolling and grabbing the demon mark, one side gasping, one side crying for food, saying to himself, I will just grab it. Absolutely cannot be lazy. The surrounding demon cultivators are all too strong. A few requests for feelings. He tightly grabbed the stomach. A person who has grabbed the fate of the demon cultivator. The demon cultivator's eyes have a bit of light. The heart jumps faster. He immediately returned to the light. His face shows no expression. Breathing steadily, like a machine without feelings. In this demon cultivator's realm, no strength to even find death. His way of survival only has one low head. Absolutely no way. Zhao Tishan was striding along the path of the law, following behind the laborers. He squinted at the shattered stones beneath his feet, and he looked as steady as an old dog in motion. A satisfied grunt escaped him. Big strides led him down a rough area. He was heading straight for the footstep sound echoing far away. Only after the laborers had finished their work did he finally let go. He was caught in the gap of changing air. The laborers were quietly murmuring in their hearts. Only he could see what was happening. A half-transparent deep blue light curtain. In an instant, it burst forth. This was just him crossing over. The unique bottom plate property absorption board. The board was extremely simple. There was no business city, only a few meaningless characters. The laborer was on the labor boat, refined into a thin person. Usable property value 0. Its function was simply explosive. Just need to touch the dead or living creatures. Then it could obtain the corresponding property, and perfectly merge into oneself. Just when this golden finger appeared, the labor boat's violent movement called out. He could not help but reach out to grab a piece of spirit stone. To obtain the spirit energy. The original ground took off, but he stubbornly endured. The original main memory, the heavenly decree against the spirit stone's management had reached a critical point. Every section had to be checked 3 times. The front foot finished the spirit stone. The back foot turned into a stone head. Zhao Tishan was absolutely going to make him suffer. A headbutt knocked out the bird. Only then could he win. In these 3 days, he was strong enough to be intimidating. Old man, truly hard work, just to find a completely safe acquisition target. The sound of the collected bell suddenly echoed throughout the labor pit. The workers were like heavy burdens. He knocked down the labor device. The laborer could only breathe heavily. Then he began to line up. With a heavy labor device, he went to the labor area. The labor boat mixed in with the crowd. The collected spirit stone just happened to touch the line, not to mention the bottom. Perfectly hidden. The collected difference. The workers were shocked in the same way. The labor boat was still in its original place. His sight was dead, sealing off the labor area. That huge labor pit. The pit piled up like a mountain. It was a labor pit that was emerging, and it was still strong without spirit energy. The labor pit's gap was not to be ignored. In the eyes of the laborers, it was pure garbage. Every evening, there were specialists pushing the mountain down. Absolutely no one would care about a pile of garbage. The labor boat deeply inhaled a breath. He picked up a big shovel, quickly walked towards the high labor pit, dressed like a laborer. No one would record the matter. He also went in early to drink tea. He knocked down the laborer. The right hand was dead, lying on a person's head, on the black labor pit. In the heart, he let out a sound to activate the collection. The deep blue light curtain burst forth, checked the labor pit. Can obtain the property as solid. The labor area was not to be underestimated. Immediately confirmed the acquisition. He grasped the strong suction of the labor pit. That solid labor pit suddenly lost its light. Directly in his hand, it was tight. It turned into a gray-white. The powdery mist swirled around. The panel prompt was successfully activated. A strong surge of energy surged forth. The air was thick with the tension of the impending storm. With both hands, he directly inserted into the stack of iron ore. The sound of the panel's prompt echoed wildly. Before his eyes, the iron ore seemed to turn gray. He could not even muster half the strength of a weakling. A large chunk of iron ore was completely absorbed into the powder. The solid attribute directly increased to 100 points. He abruptly stopped. Then he inhaled deeply. The debris piled up. There was simply no way to explain it to anyone. He used his hands to combine the powder and the ore together. The bottom was completely devoid of any residue. The ship's hull was quietly merging in his heart. With 100 points of solid attributes, the density surged throughout his body. A sensation akin to ice-cold bones spread from his heart. The blood flowed smoothly throughout his body. His skin felt like it was being pierced by countless icy needles. He was not afraid but rather felt a surge of intensity. The skin beneath seemed to mimic the entry of a high-density metal solution, and the muscles were tightly intertwined together. After a few breaths, a strange sensation surged through him. The ship's hull had completely lost its small weight. The sensation had completely changed. Originally, it was just ordinary flesh. Now it felt as tough as an ancient bull's hide. He used his fingers to press down. Even the self-printed marks could not be left behind. He picked up a piece of sharp stone. Facing his own back, he felt a chill. The sharp stone seemed to slice into his skin. It felt as if it was embedded in a metal plate. Only a faint trace of white residue remained. He lightly flicked his finger. He had completely lost his balance. The ship's hull could not withstand the pressure. The lowest level of attributes. With 100 points, he could realize the blade's sharpness. This would require even more effort. Zhao Tishan's aura surged forth. Estimations were all about to collapse. He pressed down on the heart's core. It felt good to be in the present. He took a picture of the gray soil on his body. Quickly, he moved towards the furnace. With this solid attribute, he felt a surge. He finally had a bit of confidence. In this realm of cultivation, he felt a sense of security. The second day arrived. The sound of the sharp bell rang again. He once again pressed down on the ore. The environment of the fourth ore area was even worse. The walls were constantly dripping water. The entire place was a mess. The ship's hull was filled with heavy metal. The stone in front was a huge boulder. The moment of the sudden impact was intense. His eyes glimmered with a light. Yesterday's shock was a counter-shock. Today, he arrived at the top. It felt as if he was being pulled into the depths. He felt utterly pain-free. The sensation of duality surged. Conversely, his energy surged even more. The ship's hull was pulled out. The effectiveness of the extraction surged. He calculated early to finish the task. He controlled the strength. In the evening, he went to retrieve the attributes. Just when he was focused on extracting the half-baked stone, the top of his head suddenly emitted a faint sound. The old man nearby was startled. He was about to shout. The ship's hull was about to be lifted. The ship's hull was at the top. A piece of several hundred kilograms of ore was about to be lifted. He had already lost his balance. With a gust of wind, he was about to be blown away. The space above his head was too small. His hands were still trembling. There was simply no way to escape. The first spark of 1,000 flames. As the morning light breaks, the essence of the iron beast rises before me. The grip tightens. A few hundred pounds of pressure crushes the iron beast beneath the heavy stone. The terrifying impact erupts in an instant. The blade crafted from pure iron is suddenly bent and broken. The heavy pressure on the head of the iron beast is lost. In the half-empty space, the counterattack is visible. With a surge of violent force, directly countering the morning light's grip. Too close for comfort. The speed is too fast. The surrounding pressure causes both eyes to narrow. It could drop in just a second. The anticipated bloodlight fails to appear. The blade of the iron beast is crushed in the morning light. There is no blood flow. In contrast, a clear voice of gold emerges. The iron beast is left in a gray haze. The old beast's pressure is seated in the boiling water. Half a day has passed without the divine return. The morning light's grip is lifted by the stone dust. Quickly retracting my hand, I pulled back the sleeve. He used his hand to cover. Don't say it again. The oilskin has not been broken. Just now, that one. It feels like being lightly tapped by a stick. He is in his heart, darkly self-aware of his strong personality. On the surface, yet suddenly, a ghostly expression appears. He retreated 2 steps, deliberately breaking the iron path. The old beast speaks with a heavy tone. He said his fate is too great. Just now, that must be broken. His hand directly transformed into flesh. The morning light laughed thickly. He said to himself, good luck, only breaking a bit of skin. Casually grabbing a handful of gray soil. The appearance of the bag is like a mouthful of poison. Just like that, lightly, it has passed. A few days passed in a flash, quickly arriving at the bottom of the difficult month. In the middle of the great hall, holding onto a large black wooden box, the supervisor sits on the teacher's shoulder. In his hand, holding 2 pieces of jade. Beside him, a few gods are performing. The supervisor's voice is loud. The wealth is reported to be a product of the spirit. The completion of the supergrade. The gathering of the original grade. In the crowd, a sudden explosion of beauty. The wealth is full of red light. Quickly stepping forward, he led the way for that half-grade medicine. The view of the clear and bright. The wealth just stepped down, around a few old beast's eyes. It has changed to look like a wolf. The dead beast is living in his heart. The heart of the beast is clear. In this place, the rich are waiting to die. Very quickly, the supervisor arrived at the name. He is carrying the blade, lowering his head to the box. The blade's edge is completely broken. The responsible brother gave a glance. The surface has no expression. Only able to take the lowest grade. Zhao Tishan's eyes are not looking. This kind just barely holds the line. Even if it does not suddenly appear, it is not a mistake. He has not said 2 sentences. The morning light is respectful. Passing through that small bag of spirit rice. What tower is on his body? Retreating to the most unnoticeable corner. A few origins are still in the beast's grip. A glance at his eyes is a bit suspicious. Suddenly, the light opened. The morning light laughed coldly. This is just right. What he wants is the effect of being completely absent. These past few days, he has not been able to catch more than a few scraps. Instead, he is intentionally crushing the leftover stones. Everyone has been forced into the pit. Life has become unbearable. What use is that half-hearted effort to gather resources? The night is deep and quiet. The great commotion of Kui Peak sounds like thunder. The sound of the boat hitting the ground startled him awake. Like a black cat, he nimbly flipped off the bed. He was stuck at the base of the wall, unable to make a sound. He did not go to that pitiful iron mine at all. These past few days, he has been feeling a bit better. He followed the path behind Kui Peak, a small road shrouded in secrecy. He reached the mountain stream at the base of the Kui Peak. This place is filled with the black mist of the Kui Peak. A sharp smell of burnt incense wafted out. These are all remnants of the Kui Peak's past. Inside, it was filled with the chaotic smoke and fumes. Who dares to take these remnants from the Kui Peak? On the second day, he had to endure the pain. He could die from the turmoil. It could be said that the Kui Peak was a place of no return. This is a place where no one watches over the Golden Mountain. He stumbled in front of the Kui Peak and fell. 2 hands. He directly stepped into that warm and fragrant pit. In his heart, he commanded the surface to activate. A deep blue light suddenly flickered. He checked the pit and found the remnants. He could extract the properties for the smoke and faint energy. The Kui Peak's eyes suddenly lit up. This golden hand can automatically absorb the energy. He immediately commanded it to extract the faint energy. The surface's warning sound echoed. Those Kui Peaks finally lost the last bit of light. He created a wave without any trace of odor. One group of pure essence to the extreme. There is no trace of energy. He followed his double's entrance into the 400, just like a long-lost bitter cold. His energy was being purified under the clear energy, rapidly expanding. The energy became saturated. No need for techniques. No need for deliberate guidance. The energy extracted from the surface directly surged, automatically transformed into the most basic refinement. His bones emitted a faint sound. The Kui Peak was originally empty, rapidly gathering into a large group of energy. The faster it shifts, the faster it is, absorbing all the energy. The Kui Peak's refinement, suddenly breaking through the second layer of energy. But he immediately used the surface. He suffocated his own expression. On the second day, early in the morning, the Kui Peak's first event, it was just the surface. He pressed the external air to death on the training layer. In the beginning, for more stability, he still specifically manipulated the air. All the people looked at him like a serious burden. At any moment, he could be a weak chicken. He washed his face. He opened the door of the broken wood. The empty space of the Kui Peak has already ignited. A few days ago, he just caught the moon's currency. The correct posture is to gather together. The currency has a fortune in the middle of the crowd. A loud shout. His heart was filled with a golden flame. Strength only has a small head. He realized that this was the art of the moment. It was just yesterday that he went out to execute that task. Around the Kui peak, he immediately took a horse and went up. He said he had grasped the technique. The next month, the exam will definitely be stable. The sound can just drop. That golden flame is weak, directly extinguished. The Kui peak was holding a broken water barrel from the side. Even the correct eyes did not give a single one. In his eyes, these techniques of the Shenxia realm were like flowers blooming in the east. Purely a matter of fate. A big night, encountering either a disaster or a calamity. The original location is a half-open mouth of the sky. With a flick of the wrist, a group of dazzling lights ignited. It seems like a warning was issued at the door. Shout out quickly and break me. The strike still brings its own unique light, living in fear of others finding an uncertain position. This Shenxia world is weak, yet strong in its own way. Every day, the lost people are more than the wild dogs on the barren mountain. The dog path was carved into the bones early in the morning. The eastern side of the flower is firmly unyielding, more than meets the eye, more like a transparent person. The active talent is getting longer. Put down the water bucket. The calm boat reached the sick mountain. The most unfavorable situation is the old book of the old man. This broken place usually has no ghostly shadows. The jade on the rack is simple and broken, filled with thick gray mist. Responsible for watching the old head, 4 or 5 people are sitting on the chair, shouting and hitting, causing the sky to echo. The boat's light hand lightly touched the past. In a broken corner of a table, it flipped half the sky. It was indeed a quick-drying book. He dropped the book on the thick gray cover. On the cover, it was scribbled with 4 large characters in a casual style. This is a book of physics used by a soldier. How to operate the spirit energy is not taught. All are taught how to break the seal, how to break the basic movement. The most chaotic place in the temple is not suitable for playing. I feel like I trained the face of the immortal. The necessary attitude is just this. No light effect, no need to operate the spirit energy. The exit is completely silent. He took this broken book to the door. Lightly, it was a bit of a table. The old head watching the door has awakened. A book in his hand, full of dissatisfaction. Ask him what the broken chaos is. Saying this thing is a method that does not enter the flow. Training a piece of wood can also be a piece of iron. The boat's light is a bit of a headache. The boat's head is tightly held, accompanied by a smile. Saying to oneself leads to thinking about every day, too tired. Taking the action on the book is a bit of a bone. Strong body. The old head is struggling. Let him rush away. Turning a body to catch the feeling. Grabbing the book, it was a bit of a headache. The boat's light directly hit the sick mountain. Today's task is to carry 500 pieces of black iron wood. This kind of wood is hard and similar to raw iron. Usually, the temple's position is down. The hand can shake. The necessary attitude is not good. The first day's strong quality, early burned on his skin. He from the pile, attempted to break the chaotic position, deeply inhaling a breath. In the head, it was a bit of a first break. No action of any flower. 2 legs are slightly bent. The waist is slightly exerted. The power is gradually increasing. Finally, the number of entries is in the broken position. A sound of echo. The precise angle of the spirit is on the black iron wood. The strong wood directly divides into 2. The mouth is tightly closed. Just in the moment when the wood is opened, the table was slightly burned. The action is combined with the determination. The first time was a bit of a training. The boat's light was a bit of a headache. He guessed right. This golden finger does not need to be pulled out to practice. Just the output skills of the movement and agility. The essence of the sword is combined. Daily labor can transform into sword techniques. He immediately becomes a labor combat god, rising up like a chicken's blood. He is no longer just a powerless laborer. Every time he strikes, it is like a thunderbolt, all in a frenzy, adjusting the suction angle and intensity. A strike downwards, not much more than 100 units of power. A complete morning, over 300 precise strikes. Let him explain this movement directly. Ordinary people strike a few hundred times and then report back. The stronghold has a solid protective body. Not only does it not cause muscle damage, on the contrary, the more it comes, the more suitable it is for this extreme output method. In the afternoon, the lucky road passes through the courtyard. Looking at the majestic peak of Kui, the scene bursts into laughter. Tell him that his strikes are even better. Also, it can't be the original ground rising. Not as many as the time to feel the spirit. The laborer stops his hand. He has taken the water. The old man speaks of his own heavenly resources. Still more than a few strikes. Free to test the bottom of the moon. The test is reduced. The lucky road has a strong grip. He turned a white eye, changing bodies and walking far away. The laborer is not aware. The head turns and continues to strike. The training intensity on the surface has also jumped up. In the afternoon, the laborer is ready to appear in the courtyard. He lifts the heavy burden of the labor, dying while watching the heavy burden in the brain. In an instant, it turns into a heavy sight. Sharp. Both hands hold the death trap. The small foot kicks the ground. Everyone is like the same strong bow. The tension is released. The labor trap forms a lingering shadow. The stone is broken. The training intensity is added again. The tension is tight. The laborer is pulling or pushing. The laborer takes every action. All the solutions have become sword techniques. He is at the edge of the dark labor. Frenzied output. Others are pulling the labor. He pulls the labor with subtle movements. For the sake of the labor, he does not attract attention. He deliberately slows down the labor speed. Every time he strikes, it is precise. Crushed on the stone without spirit. One day down. The labor stone is dead on the line. Ignoring the guard. Like a snake, he lets him move. Just like that, every day passes. 1 month, 2 months, half a year. The person on the peak has changed a bit. That meeting is a lucky encounter. Because he pulls a piece of low-level stone. He was hit by someone at night. Like a mess, he lost the door. The laborer relies on the old every day. The thunder does not move. Pulling the laborer becomes clearer. There is a sense of low output. Sometimes others walk to his side. As long as he does not shout, others can't feel it. The person standing there, because he has suppressed the suction and movement, but the data on his surface, yet at a terrifying speed. He explains the sword technique, already reached the thought of the next step. Now, what is the root of the action? A sudden grasp. The power of skill is perfectly aligned with the exquisite art of the blade. Quickly, prepare to fight. There are not many movements left. A deep night half a year later. In the broken wooden house, there was no light. The morning sun was at the front of the shabby bed. In my hand, I held a white sky from the ruins. The report of the returning iron blade. The blade was missing 7 or 8 notches. The wooden handle of the blade was chipped. He had no expression. The eye spirit drowned in a stream. A faint sound arose from the iron blade. Facing the front, the air was light and a sudden grasp. There was no wind or sound, no broken silence. This blade is drawn. Calmly, let the head of the person become numb. The imitation of the void air was caught. An ordinary blade opened up a strange path. Suddenly, the surface exploded with a sharp red light. The characters were in a frenzy. The first blade shattered the first million. The unique phrase of the special word caused a stir. The first 5 releases were fixed on a certain day. The management department outside started a long dragon, talking about the opposing faction. A month of 2 blades waiting for the spirit rice. Not only is it about survival, moreover, that point enhances the weak thought of improvement. The blade was mixed in the team behind. Both hands grasped in the sleeve, like a person who has not slept. The management Zhao Tishan was on the master's shoulder. In my hand, I held a broken spirit stone. Zhao Tishan was in front of the lead. He was stuck in the sleeve. The situation was urgent. There was not even one. The regulation is not a month of 2 blades, right? Zhao Tishan coldly laughed. Raising the body, one leg was on Zhao Tishan's stomach. The person was thrown out 2 meters away. Zhao Tishan grasped the stomach on the ground. In my hand, the rice was broken. Zhao Tishan walked forward. One leg landed on the scattered spirit rice. The sound echoed. My words are just regulations. On a month, the production of spirit stones does not reach the standard. On the top, I lost my profit. Not from you guys, this group of lowly creatures. Is it hard to break your own bag? Half a blade of rice love is not to be. Don't just roll. The whole place is in chaos. The big air can't come out. Zhao Tishan is now practicing the 4th layer, hitting a piece of the blade towards the back mountain. There was not even one person passing by. The blade is silent. He ran up quickly. In a moment, the atmosphere became extremely tense. Zhao Tishan suddenly raised his hand, grasping the right hand of the blade, coldly speaking, listening to the blade closest to the action. Every time the exchange falls, it touches the line, asking him if it is intentional to hide. This is just a clear hint. Around a few blades, they all come together. The blade area is laughing. I know this structure. Can grasp enough and the line has already pulled the old life. Sister, huh? He not only has not gone to that suspicious half-blade, on the contrary, from the heart, it breaks out a month. Self-pulling down the small half-blade, following the cloth bag, I respectfully walk into Zhao Tishan's hand. The management day is 1,000 machines, too bitter. This month, my mouth is not good. This point, rice is taken away to the edge. Zhao Tishan is in a state of chaos. He grabbed the rice bag, laughing out loud. The calculation of the shuttle has a feeling of returning to the mundane. Yes, yes, yes. The shuttle is clenching its fists. Just move on. Get out of the management office. The nearby workers and the pain of the upper management. The shuttle is in pain. A month's worth of rice has been delivered. What else is there to eat? Zhao Tishan is a notorious person. It is not a big deal to him. The shuttle has stopped breathing. Take the head and pull. You all practice chi in a 2-layer family. You need to pack yourselves. I still have to leave my life to the whims. Say it quickly, hurry back. The shuttle's heart is clear. If you just do not exchange rice. Zhao Tishan is definitely a moving hand. He is currently in a state of extreme skin tightening. Hitting Zhao Tishan is basically not a problem, but after the fall, the external team comes to check. Fix the surface to shine. Take the high-level research storm to change a piece of spirit wood. Only fools can handle it. Just need to survive. Eating tree bark can purify the surface. Night falls. With a black face, the shuttle's alertness rises. Zhao Tishan says it is not a good day. Just go into the house and get wet. Must be in the house to make a cave. He walks to the bed's edge, grabbing the wooden plank to the corner, showing a strong, solid ground. The shuttle extends its solid right hand. 5 fingers under the moonlight are covered in a blue-black metallic glow. The eyes are directed downwards. 5 fingers' roots have not entered the solid ground. Using force to push, a large piece of solid ground is pulled out. Even the skin has not broken a bit. Both hands directly grab the body. In the original position of the bed, it is chaotic. The soil that was pulled out is fully packed. The next morning after the mountain collapses, God knows, Ghost does not. Half a moment after the shuttle, a long 2-meter plank, 1 meter, a 3-meter deep pit is formed. In the practice of Qi, falling down also gets broken legs. But far from enough, the shuttle jumps out of the stream. From the wooden cliff, 10 roots of the strongest black iron wood are pulled out, pulling out the bed's bottom, that long full iron piece. The movement is extremely sharp. One hand pulls, the shadow passes, solid iron wood. In an instant, several roots are pulled out. The shuttle's life is at stake. Following him, pulling out a broken bag. Inside is this day's digging time. Using a plank to prevent the old rat poison from leaking, letting people soak in the itching. The shuttle jumps into the stream, taking the poison powder and the life wood, murmuring. The mental illness is full of the entire stream's edge, pulling out the last 2 bags of soil. After the collapse of the mountain, the shuttle has no urgency to return. He took the gray on his hand. Following the edge of the collapse, a small path of grass leads, continuing to walk deeper into the mountain. This path has no one walking, because the entrance is a long full green stone. On top, 4 large letters are engraved. Everyone in the ancient peak knows, behind the stone, is a piece of unknown, existing for many years of poison. That place is very oppressive. For many years, it has been shrouded in a blue-green mist. Don't tell them these lowly servants are just the bottom rung of the ladder. It is just those inner sect servants after their training. Even the teachers of the foundation establishment stage are not willing to go there. The air there is said to be very thin. A single breath can be suffocating. Once, there was an inner sect junior. He was chased by a venomous beast. In order to escape, he had to risk his life. He charged into the mist. As a result, he left no trace behind. In the mist, a few black shadows emerge. From that point on, this place became a haunted site. People say it is a ghost gate, but Zhao Tishan saw the poison rolling forward. The eyes were shining with a strange light. No one fears the poison. His lack of fear is just a trait of those who can't be caught. Zhao Tishan did not dare to move. He directly grabbed the flesh and resisted. He turned and ran back to the wooden house. In the mist, he pulled out a half-baked black wooden stick. Using the stone head, he smashed it to pieces. He struck down the thickest part of the bed, using water to hit. He smashed the wooden stick into the middle. Finally, he found a hollow heart-shaped pipe. He inserted it into the air vent. A simple version of a filter was created, but the anti-poison mesh used is well done. Half a moment later, Zhao Tishan stood again in front of the stone tablet. He placed the bag on his head. The poison completely dissipated. He bit the bamboo pipe, deeply inhaling a breath. The air flowed through the humid soil and wooden stick, carrying a whiff of burnt earth and smoke, but the smell of the burnt wood has mostly dissipated. He had no symptoms. A head of purple-green poison entered. Just as he stepped into the mist, he was exposed to the outside's hand. He immediately felt a sharp pain. It was like countless needles stabbing into his skin. Originally, it merged into a firm skin surface, and began to rise with an abnormal itch. The poison is currently testing the limits of his skin. Zhao Tishan is not allowed to resist. He immediately reached down into the water. The surface glimmered with cold blue light. He detected DJ's mixed body. Successfully obtained. He chose to merge into the entire body and blood. The pain sensation slightly diminished. He smiled. He continued to walk inside. Walking further inside, the gas has become thick. All the surrounding trees have turned into a deep black color. The blackened tree trunks, hanging with a green liquid. On the ground, there are unknown wild animals' white bones. The surface of the table is constantly moving. The poison resistance 1+1+2 connection is not uniform. Zhao Tishan is like a mysterious suction device, walking a path that is frantically absorbing the surrounding gas. A moment later, he has already turned a large circle outside. The pain sensation on his body has completely disappeared, as if the poison of the outside world is hitting him, just like a clear wind blowing, leaving a red mark that cannot be erased. The poison resistance on the surface has already solidified to 1,500 points. The poison outside has been absorbed. The attribute points have grown too slowly. Zhao Tishan's eyes turned deeper. There are no trees there, only a piece of black liquid. He touched a piece of wood. A small heart is tightly pressed against a big jar. Inside, there is a bubbling sound coming from the pot. A pungent smell spreads as someone works. A single mistake leads to a cloud of gray smoke from the side. A hand reaches out and plunges into the pot. Only a short, sharp scream escapes. Just 3 seconds pass. The skin on the bone directly turns into a black liquid. Not a trace of the soup remains. The head of the person watching is covered in a thick layer of dust. But that does not mean he can escape. On the contrary, it makes his heart race faster. This must be the moment to take action. Practicing at the 4th level of chi refining is quite a feat. He has passed through, directly transformed into ash. He does not dare to use his hands directly. He picks up a branch from a nearby tree. A slight touch on the surface of the soup. The moment the branch touches the soup, a shrill voice suddenly breaks the silence. He bursts out a self-deprecating laugh. The pot suddenly emits a loud sound. Testing reveals a high concentration of toxic material. The extraction was successful. He gains a toxic boost. He chooses to merge the 2 hands into a bone structure. A 10-fingered hand points towards a faint feeling. He knocks down that branch, leaving only half of the tree. He directly places both hands on the surface of the soup. He starts to panic. The toxicity level is 1 + 5 + 10. The value spikes. The black liquid in the pot. The speed of the meat eye becomes clear. The pungent smell of the branch dissipates. When this soup is about to be served, it turns into a common soup. The toxicity of the soup is already high. It has already reached 2,000 points. The soup pot starts to rise. Looking at his own hands, 10 fingers stretch out, revealing a strange green light. The hand is placed on a large stone head. A light tap. The stone head suddenly emits a white mist. He begins to transform. A few seconds later, it turns into a bubbling gray liquid. The sound of a blue bell echoes from the main peak. The connection is not perfect. The entire Kui Peak is filled with mist. Today is the 3rd year of the Outer Gate's big competition. This is the only chance for the disciples to shine. Sneaking away to the front peak on a hot day. Usually, they are oppressed by the administrators. Like a horse, the disciples are treated. All gather towards the front peak. The soup pot quickly approaches. It is late, and the place for the pot is gone. Today, the elder of the inner gate is observing. The so-called cold-faced teacher also needs to step up. He did not eat the black soup last night. His stomach is already rumbling. Zhou Dajuang has already said something. He is preparing to strike. A puff of smoke has not yet appeared. Looking at the people on Kui Peak, the pain on Zhou Dazuang's face is fleeting. Looking at the big competition in the air, what good can the chicken soup do? A master with a strong aura has caught his eye. The master has caught his eye. A breath of air has been lost. Flying to the crowd. Zhao Tishan is this small. He is already in trouble. This kind of heat is pure and fatal. Zhao Tishan's body is directly pressed against the back of the mountain. The soup pot is cold and clear. There is only one half-baked dish. He is currently sleeping on the table. Everyone runs to see the big competition. Zhao Tishan walks forward. A light tap on the table. I come to take on today's task. Today, the outside world is more chaotic than ever. What task are you running over here? My resources are severely lacking. We need to hurry up. In the next month, the spirit rice allocation might be cut again. I hope today won't be too busy. Go clean up the trash in the storage room. Get rid of those rusty metal scraps. Bring it out to the trash. I have finished my work. This is his real goal for today. The storage room is in the darkest corner of the Kui Peak. It is a massive rock formation that rarely sees sunlight. Every day, thousands of disciples fight for survival. The bad tools are countless. Those rusty scraps are not worth anything. Everything is covered in trash here. Let us open the heavy door to the storage room. A strong smell of iron and rust hits you. The rock formation is broken and jagged. It looks like a small mountain. The trash in this room is overwhelming. In the eyes of others, it is a filthy place that should not exist. But in the eyes of the disciples, there is no place to hide from the supreme gold mountain. The disciples are moving forward. They are closing the door behind them. It is still not enough. They are pushing a pile of trash a few hundred kilograms away. The fire is directly behind the door. It is confirmed that no one can come in after this. He pulls out the key from between his legs. He walks to the nearest trash mountain. He casually grabs a half-broken sword. The surface of the table is protruding. Testing the remaining items, the tool is successfully retrieved, obtaining a +1 sharpness. The disciples are immediately ordered to leave. The iron sword in hand is merging, that half-broken sword, directly turning into a gray self-colored sword, from the tip of the sword, and another hand holds the life sword. The sword is slightly trembling. There is no stopping. Both hands are pushing out, directly inserting into that pile of trash, starting to uncontrollably pull out the trash. The sound of the table is forming a line. Sharpness +3, agility +2, sharpness +1, agility +5. Both hands have passed through over 100,000 broken tools. It is like a weak stone after 1,000 years. The trash is forming a pile. The disciples are like a black shadow in this pile of broken tools. The sharpness is taking effect. 2 moments. The trash mountain in the storage room, with the speed visible to the naked eye. The ground is thickening with iron gray and rust. When he puts down the corner, the last piece of broken iron is opened, after absorbing the dust, finally stopped, long and loud, a breath of air. The big water is full, but the spirit is reaching its peak. A few thousand broken tools. He was finally left with a little value. Sharpness and agility are both attributes, directly blasting out 3 million points. The disciples are at the low end, looking at the right hand, that sword. The sword is on the table, slowly revealing a line of black light. The hidden light is slowly revealing. The hidden light is revealing. This sword breaks the limit. It has already far exceeded its original quality. A light breeze, a faint whisper of energy fills the air. Today, the outer sect's tasks were disrupted as someone was caught trying to break into the house. A figure looms ominously. The signboard announcing the former task has been shattered. A wooden beam creaks. A mouthful of blood spilled onto the ground. 2 outer sect disciples, their eyes glowing red, wielding long blades, for the sake of a task to guard against the icy flood. In a moment of chaos, that task is not just a one-time affair. It is a 10-part series of challenges. You can still enjoy the benefits of the icy flood. Half a month of intense pressure. It is simply a weighty burden amidst the heavy burdens. Among them, one disciple points at another in anger. The task is to look up at the sky. Nothing is written on the surface. Who calculates who? The two of them are getting more and more tangled, directly confronting the blade. Around the corner, a large circle of hot air surrounds a disciple. Shouting and yelling, the sound shakes the heavens. The disciple is grasping with both hands, gripping the handle. Like a transparent person, he stumbles upon the root of the wall. He has entered the most dangerous corner of the outer sect. He did not even look at those two. He strikes with a heavy blow. An outer disciple casts a glance. 10 pieces of spirit stone are being consumed, but it is not enough to buy a life. One strike has shattered everything. Later, the medicine for the wound won't be less than 10 pieces. He has become accustomed to the most unfavorable tasks. The wooden beams above have fallen thickly. It was a day of hard work until late, yet still no spirit stones. His eyes are sharp. He challenges the demon beast circle. Finally, he settles on a thick wooden beam in a dark corner. After the repair, the mountain stone task reward is only 3 disciples are offering points regardless of the meal. This task dog does not care. The old stone steps behind the mountain are fully at the level of 1,000,000 years of loss and repair. It is all about the big green stone board. Moving up, it accumulates people without saying. Still half a drop of oil has not appeared. The disciples' boat seems to have seen the absolute world method. One strike knocks down the wooden beam. Running to the platform, he says, "I received it." He strikes with a sleepy gesture. He glances at him. The platform has been raised significantly. 3 days in, the repairs are incomplete. Need to reverse the monthly offering. I am sure. I repair to the lowest. Just enjoy the tranquility. A bit of a lazy life. He pressed a hand seal. He took the tool handle, transforming and walking. Fearing the task, he regrets. Half a moment later, the disciple stands at the back mountain. This place is definitely deserted. Not a single ghost shadow is present. Long-lasting green stone steps are broken, continuously extending to the half-mountain's cloud. He strikes the iron rod and pushes it down. There is no need to manage those broken stones. Deeply inhaling a breath, both hands gently spread open. Both hands directly press down, beside a large mountain body. This is the location of the back mountain. The entire mountain has been silent for thousands of years. The most indispensable. It is just that kind of stable power. The surface plate is protruding, testing the strength of the mountain. Successfully obtained. Gained heavy +1. The boat of fate does not stop at the command. All the bones and flesh merge in an instant. He feels his legs sink into the ground. It is like being trapped in 100 layers of water. But he tries to lift his legs. He finds his body still and light. The movement is completely unaffected. That thick power is like a heavy weight. There is no sluggish speed. It is as if the ground is rooted in place, like an old tree in the valley. stable like a mountain. The boat of fate has begun to stir. One hand pulls a heavy green stone slab. Like pulling a bean sprout, it lightly lifts up. Another hand finally touches the ground or the mountain edge, maintaining a steady state. Heavy weight 5, 10 and 20. The sound of the prompt on the surface. Like a mad bean sprout, it refreshes. No one needs to gather 5 people. Only then can a completely new stone pillar be lifted. He grabs ahead with one hand, one leg steps over, just precisely stepping into the narrow passage. But he fundamentally does not stay in the narrow passage. All attention is on the explosive attributes. 1 day, 2 days. The boat of fate has been stirred, just like 2 mouths carrying a solid surface, drinking some mountain spring water, stuck directly on the stone ridge. The power of the mountain behind is simply unyielding. This kind of connection does not break the sense of self. Let him feel like a top-heavy giant, completely unable to stop. His bones begin to emit a faint explosion, originally merged with the solid attributes of the skin, gradually revealing a layer of dark yellow light. The body's density is currently increasing at an extreme speed. The 3rd day, the evening, under the western sun. Finally, a stone slab is touched by the boat of fate. A strict alignment. He stands directly. Long calls out a breath of white air, originally breaking through the million-level stone ridge, already being adjusted by someone to a steady state, but it makes him more vigorous. The data engraved on this slab. Heavy attributes adjusted to 1 million points. The boat of fate holds the head, feeling the current self, just like a person being compressed to the extreme. He looks down at the green stone slab. Good, about 1 million points of heavy attributes, gathered on his own body. What is the principle? Trying to jump on the flat ground after the mountain. With a light touch, a voice echoes. In the forest of the 4-week trees, the birds are startled. The boat of fate gathers strength, taking 1 million points of heavy attributes. Strong pressure is in the deep part of the bones. Just then, that one needs to be seen by people. It is not necessary to let him become any form of monster. Giving a pull, cutting research is not possible. He hurriedly pulls up the heavy, dressed in whatever has not happened, arriving at the back mountain, another path of the forest, starting today's daily tasks, just fixed the movement of the platform, getting hurriedly to the point of human ears, pulled without half a second, the edge of the small path. Suddenly a sound of heavy breathing comes. Following is the sound of the tree being broken. The boat of fate has begun to move. The hand's pull stops for a moment. A person with blood is rolling out. A head is on the slab of the boat of fate. The ground is stained red. The carriage is heading towards the sun. This person is wearing a long robe with a distinctive moon pattern. It is the attire of an inner sect disciple. Currently, this long robe has already been torn into tatters. There is a deep wound on the mouth. The left shoulder is dislocated. The wound is covered in a strange black mist. In this state, they are still not dead. Fate is indeed cruel. That inner sect disciple is in a difficult position. The face is full of dirt. The eyes are filled with a watery glow. The lifeless gaze is fixed on the carriage. They are struggling. From the depths of despair, a piece of black blood is oozing out. And a storage bag. The voice is hoarse and weak. You better take these things. Tell the elder that there is a problem. Just send the message. The spirit stone in the storage bag is all yours. The elder will still protect you. Enter the inner sect. Enter the inner sect to gain great wealth. The carriage is stationed at the original site. Even the eyelids did not flutter. Looking at that shining storage bag, there is not a single ripple in the heart. This must be the brother who just entered the sect. This will definitely trigger a violent reaction. Taking the storage bag will go to the hero. A disciple who is said to have a training period was turned into this bear-like figure. What kind of angle does the person chasing him have? The base is extremely high. He is a small figure, running to the side of the inner sect's high-level power, or a lowly kill, purely a fate long. That piece of jade is simply a death trap. That storage bag. It is said that there is still a divine mark or a chasing hand. Who takes who dies. This kind of great disciple of the inner sect. There is a fate lamp left in the sect. Once killed by someone, the last face seen before death, or the aura of the hand that was about to be killed. To break the metal chain. Purely a fate long. The carriage has not said a word. Even the calling and sucking sound has not changed. He has not gone up to save people. Also did not fall under the stone. He directly retreated a step. That inner sect disciple is watching the carriage retreat. Quickly spewed out a mouthful of black blood. The voice is hoarse. Quickly take hold. The carriage is not going to stop. Not only to walk, but also to start a serious search. He is pulling the carriage. must add firmness to this house. But the material is all refined iron, even more advanced than the common. Taking the material from the refining edge is not suitable. He also found a broken mouth of a crack, falling half a crack of water. The gold powder completely fell. Then he broke the hand. He pressed a few drops of blood to the lead, using the root to press the frenzied. Very quickly, a bit of a mess. Like black mud, a special edge of the water is good. The ship does not understand what the high-level edge is. The hard work peak's broken edge has clearly been broken. Only two of the most chaotic big streets. One is used to give the rice mound to the old rat's solid edge. Usually, no one takes these two edges back. The power of the small is strange, but the ship does not stay. Quality is not enough. The quantity is coming. He crouches down, using a talisman to absorb that black liquid. It starts behind the wooden house. A series of strokes drew a solid barrier. This line of law diagram simplified to a critical point. It is just a few overlapping circles. Add 12 lines of release state. The weakest one in the line can shine through the drawing. But after the first drawing, there was no stopping. He tightly grasped the first solid barrier's edge. Then he drew the second one. After that, the third and fourth. He flipped the entire solid barrier over. Behind the dense drawing filled the solid barrier. A total of 50 were drawn. 50 of the lowest level solid barriers, added to a wooden board. The defense power of a single solid barrier generally corresponds to a layer of thin leather. About 50 added together. It corresponds to about 50 layers of thin leather, burned to death on this wooden board. The drawing completed the board. He started drawing the wall barrier. The wooden board of the four-sided wall was completely peeled off by him. After the dense drawing filled the solid barrier, he rebuilt it. Looking from the outside, this broken wooden house. Still, that side needs to be dismantled, but looking from the inside, every wooden board's back, all densely packed with lines. The black lines are in the dark, contradicting if there is any faint light. He started at the back of the door and the window frame, drawing the guiding lines. The same operation, the same kind of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Each position has 50 lines of guiding energy. After finishing the drawing, the entire wooden house, just like being occupied by a shapeless monster. From the outside, the road passes. There seems to be no one calling, feeling nothing. The last stroke of the drawing. Directly raised his head to look. That was when he truly shone. Before that, he, Zhao Tishan, is the oldest and most troublesome in Kui Peak. The most non-existent feeling is that line of fish. Who else would think of letting him out? He flipped over a body. The clothes were torn. The 50-layer solid barrier and the guiding energy barrier's heavy protection. Quietly sleeping. The moonlight outside the window shines through the door, lying on his calm face. A night of hardship, a peaceful night. No one knows. The most broken wooden house here. Living in this one is a strong monster without a sound. Also, no one knows that every day is a weak and sickly state. The body has already filled up. Feet pressing down the training energy of Kui Peak's strong attributes. And this one, just started. Solid barrier set guiding energy. The big barrier is a small barrier. The small barrier connects to the big barrier. A time passed. The barrier on the board has already filled up to 10 layers. The taste of the wooden house's corner is fading. Continuously calling out in the house. Just do not walk out this door. Outside, basically can't hear a thing. But this is still not enough. Zhao Tishan's end is a continuous barrier. Continuously drawing 20 layers, 30 layers, 40 layers. The water flows down the slope. The hand's wrist is tight, but the divine eyes are becoming increasingly sharp. Those special golden minerals are being drawn in by the power of the formation, deeply penetrating the wooden beams of every fiber. The ordinary wooden beams are currently being activated. A kind of extremely strange transformation. Right at the moment when the sky is about to brighten, he finally finished the last stroke, reaching the 50th layer of the solid barrier and the chi gathering formation intermingled. deadly trapped in this 10-square wooden house. The ship's bow was knocked down by the wind. A piece of wood is sitting on the ground. The big mouth is puffing out air. He raised his head and looked towards the four directions. The wooden house looks ancient from the outside. At any moment, it could be blown apart by the wind. The formation on the wall can hardly be seen. The chi gathering formation gathers all the spiritual energy. The entire area is filled with a deadly silence. The ship's bow rises up, walking to the front of the right door, taking a deep breath. The thick density of the legs and the firmness of both hands suddenly stirred. He could merge 1,000 points of density and 1,000 points of firmness. This one punch down, even if it is the back mountain, that area is several thousand tons heavy. The green stone slab can also break the surface. He stumbled on the ground. The right fist carries the sound of the wind. He staggered towards the wall. The wooden house looks like it wants to collapse, but he exerted all his strength to smash it. The wooden beam is connected to a wooden pillar that has not fallen. The ship's bow was pushed slightly. There are some strange connections on the right hand. Satisfaction is looking at the front. The wooden beam that has not fallen, going up to the 50th layer of the formation. This wooden house currently has a solid estimate compared to the inner door. The old protection formation still needs to be solidified. The safety house is there, but his heart is still not at ease. The wooden house is still strong. He certainly cannot stay here forever. Once outside, he encounters a high ridge, the unyielding destruction of the formation, people casually passing by a flowing stream. He himself is still strong, but still not well received. To get a bit of life-saving bottom line, the best is to wear it on the body. He touched the money bag in his pocket. These years have been searching. Every month, he eats a bit. He has dropped a large piece of broken stone. Going to the temple is the standard of 100 treasures. He can only go to the market outside. He can only go to the outer edge of the market. The temple is built in front of the mountain. The back mountain connects to a large mountain valley. The ship's bow has shifted to the most broken old cloth. He raised his head, lowering his head among the crowd. He walked into the market. The street is lined with all kinds of stalls. The entrance is full of lively women welcoming guests. He did not even blink. He directly passed through the main street. He entered the deepest part of the market. Here, two sides casually touch a few pieces of debris. On top, various kinds of goods are piled up. He missed the mouth of the knife, the black unknown grass. Even the monster's skull is soaked in mud. Most of the debris is mixed from the outside. Not as expected, the old oil, or the urgent need for money. Every place is a drinking sound. Someone is shouting at the old repairman. Just now, the broken treasure was taken out. Only 50 pieces of low-grade spirit. Someone is shouting about the second-grade monster's iron claw. It is a top-grade material. The ship's bow is holding on, like a big bag, walking around each corner. Those flashes of light, the goods that are definitely not for sale. He does not ask questions. Those things over there, people have used divine recognition countless times. There really is a chance he won't come. What more could be too expensive? If you can't buy it, it is easy to attract attention. He specializes in those sales of scrap stones. The main thing is that he is a skinny old man. What kind of Eastern thing is this? He has already turned into a big half. The boat is in a corner. The grass shed has stopped. The main thing is that he looks like a skinny old man. He is indeed sleeping at the corner. The grass shed is displaying a piece of iron plate. The drawing is a symbol of the shed. It is all worthless junk. The boat is under the body. He casually pulled a few pieces of iron. Then he set up an unintentional light on the grass shed. The edge is used to press down a piece of black dust. This thing only has a small head. It does not sink in autumn. The surface is a bit rough. There is no energy wave. Looking at it seems like a training fire is coming out. But he just walked closer. The deep sea has a property of moisture. Extremely subtle movements happened. This means this piece of shed is hidden. The faceplate feels exciting. The boat is taking the iron plate to the grass shed. The intention is to ask the price. The skinny old man is looking at him. The sound of the boat is 5 pieces. The broken spirit stone. The boat is taking the iron plate to the grass shed. The intention is to walk. The main thing is that he is sitting straight, going down 3 pieces. The boat is stopping at the foot. He inhaled. The action announcement is 3 pieces. Not more than this person has a disease. He likes to show off. He said he naturally pressed down. He grabbed the piece of black dust. He threw it down, entering the deep. It is cold. This piece is pressing the broken stone. He just took back that piece. The quick number came out 3 pieces. He grabbed the black dust and the iron plate. The main thing is that he is tired, looking at the stone in his hand, and looking at the direction of the boat. He laughed. He felt a bit foolish. A common broken stone, still running like a treasure. Half a moment after, the boat returned to that place. The broken wooden house. The door is locked. Pulling up the window. The plate is on the bed. He casually grabbed a piece of iron. He took a deep breath. He inhaled. He gave the command. The plate exploded. Once it has to be sharp. He is testing the high purity. He is currently in the middle of it. The black dust suddenly started. It appears to be a dense thread, a layer of black skin, like a thick layer. The powder flows from the direction, not more than 3 times. The original head of the black-haired creature is just left behind. A small glowing entity resembling a finger. That is not a property, but rather an extreme complexity, like a certain type of micropattern. The red color of the blood is intertwined, floating in the upper half of the heart, releasing a wave of intense emotional turbulence. The surface shows successful extraction, gaining a unique and significant phrase, counter-harm pattern. The effect is to be affected by physical or legal attacks. It will absorb 100% of the damage taken. For example, a sudden counterattack against the attacker, sucking in a breath of cold air. In an instant, the pupils dilated. 100% counterattack means only, no one can directly grab him and take him down. Whoever dares to face him is a fool. The opponent also gets a real conclusion, grabbing the same level of power, matching a million points of thickness, a few thousand points of solid wood quality. Who hits him, who falls? The surface indicates the selected combination, sucking in one breath, breaking the old clothes, revealing a white object that seems to be washed early. The place is a thick-skinned beast. That was when he just entered the door. The spirit of the beast is exchanged with others. He does not hesitate to directly counter. The pattern combined into the inner layer. The inner layer's surface has risen, a dark red strange light. After that, the light faded, reforming into that broken, chaotic model. The second day is a big morning. Sucking in a breath like usual, pulling 2 large wooden beams. Lin Tian's water. The sunlight is sharp. The weather is hot. There is not a single breeze. A group of insects is crawling on the grass. Zhou Dajuang is in the corner of the field. One side is a small voice, calling the matter, and also got rid of their insect medicine. Just at this moment, the direction of the deep mountain suddenly comes. A sound of extreme silence. A sharp sound. The penetrating power is extremely strong. It is not the usual call of the green bell. Sucking in the wooden stick's weak power, tightly holding the ground, starting to shake. At first, it was just a slight tremor. The water surface in the wooden barrel rises, but just a few moments of sucking, the tremor momentarily increases. The number of monks is above 1,000. Zhou Dajuang directly rises, looking at the mountain direction, asking, "Is it the dragon that turned over?" A small figure suddenly calls out. This direction is a wooden beam outside. There are 2 tall people, using thick iron wood to form a defense. The banner is like a net, suddenly being torn apart. The wooden barrel floats in the sky. A few figures resemble a large wild animal, the double-eyed red, bringing a gust of wind, directly breaking into the area. That is the spirit beast peak of the deep mountain. They are panicking. The spirit beast is raging. The whole spirit field suddenly ignited. Those usual times are used to give offerings, pulling the cart to see the low-level spirit beast. At this moment, there is no wisdom. The one in front is a few heads. A piece of the product is a bear, long and full of black quality. The bear is still long. The one with a weak head just got smacked. An elder with a slow run is a problem. No matter how loud they shout, they won't achieve anything. Directly being pinned down by a brutal beast makes things worse. These scoundrels are completely crushed. They are making themselves the best but still not more than average. Their attack style is just like everyone else's, ineffective. The weapons in hand only consist of blunt and dull tools. Facing off against this group of havoc-wreaking monsters, it is just a one-way smash. In a split second, the scene becomes a collapsing wasteland. Someone is running up the mountain. Another person is struggling to keep their legs steady on the ground. The shuttlecraft is stationed on the original ground, the heads being squeezed tight. He is not running. In this chaotic situation, he is just holding on. Behind him, a monster with an iron leg is lurking. Simply sending a person would suffice. 2 legs running contrary to one leg's movement, but he also can't possibly be at a disadvantage. This low-level monster is just there. In his eyes, the corner of the mouth slightly rises. A single strike could knock the beast off. Can you really hit that after you are done? The needs of a savage beast violently contradict the timid. They say there is no guarantee with young talents in the field. Caught on a flying blade using divine awareness beneath, he is at the bottom of a pit of chaotic air. One fist could knock one group of monsters out. This face has been seen from high above. Tomorrow, get ready to be tied up on the dissecting platform. Can't hit nor can he run. The shuttlecraft's light is about to pass overhead. Not far from here, several fierce wolves are lurking. A few frightened beasts are escaping. The real pressure is pushing down. That place has already fallen down. These 5 unrestrained beasts are quite troublesome, flowing deep into the whirlpool. Never miss the direction of the attack. He is not coming to save anyone. He is coming to borrow resources. Running close to the falling beasts, the feet crawl into the black mist. While dodging, I caught a glimpse of a black shadow, directly squeezing the cheek in my hand, using both hands to press, hitting the bumpy floor with my abdomen and head, dressing all up to seem chill. The harmed should be swayed. The action of one must not stop. Calmly flowing water. What is done seems cool. The shuttlecraft is back on track. Clear signs form around the crowd. One does not move, especially tight at the seams. The broken clothing is holding tight against his back. Leaves knitted in the whirlpool, only leaving a call for a nose. At the same time, the body begins a 1,000-point rush. The pressure in the heart and blood flow speeds up. Breath changes extremely weak. Body warmth quickly declines. Right now, no matter if anyone is coming, it only appears as a next group that soon runs out. Roaring sounds are arising from the surrounding. The flesh is being yanked and torn apart. The monster's back head is close to crying. The beast's bottom is becoming the level wind. The taste of blood becomes more intense by these monsters, just like pushing the machine down the road. The wooden house is entirely shaken. The shuttlecraft closes its eyes. In the heart, there is not a single wave. You cannot cross this wave. Observe the array and internal beasts progressing. This group of low-level monsters must be crushed. All they need is a calm moment. A gathered panel back spreads out. Suddenly, a group rushes in, feeling quite sluggish, sounding from within the shuttlecraft's ear zone. The ground brings guiding tension in the hands. A massive beast with a head resembling a giant's. It slowly walked to the edge of the cliff. The sound of its footsteps echoed in the water below. It felt like a heavy weight was pressing down. Its head was lowered, revealing two sharp tusks. It seemed to be selecting which piece of meat looked the freshest. The beast's nostrils flared nearby. It was in the area where the shipwreck occurred. It began to make a return motion. A warm, humid breath escaped its mouth. It directly targeted the back of the ship. This was a rare sight of a legendary bear. The creature was larger than a full-grown cow. Its thick fur resembled a shaggy carpet. This beast was not just powerful but also incredibly agile. Moreover, its skin was thick. It unleashed a fierce roar that reverberated through the air. The repairmen in the back did not dare to look. The bear's roar echoed like a thunderous stone. Even the skin of the face showed no signs of movement. The bear's growl was low and filled with menace. It directly raised its paw, which was larger than a plate. The right bear's claw was long and sharp. With one swipe, it knocked down the ship. This swipe could easily break 1,000 bones. It struck with a common ferocity. It could directly crush a person's spine. Together, 5 or 6 of them could easily crush. But it was in the bear's grip. The ship's back was about to be crushed in 1,000 seconds. It was pressed against the broken beast's skin. The surface was completely devoid of strength. A streak of deep red blood glowed ominously. The surface of the ship was protruding. It detected an external biological attack. The counterattack was already active. The damage was 100% countered. Adding up to the bear's region, it was a total of 1 million points. The thickness and strength were both above 1,000 points. It now resembled a dead corpse on the ground. The rigidity was comparable to a 1,000-year-old iron plate. This bear was a powerful entity. It pressed down on the broken plate. All opposing forces were suppressed. The text was perfectly collected in an instant. Then, the raging waves returned. A command made the people feel the crushing weight. It pressed against the surrounding howls. The bear's growl was so powerful it could not be contained. It was a massive, thick bear. From the bear's grip to the shoulder, the bear's inner strength was directly unleashed. The bear's roar echoed. The solid bones crumbled in an instant. The bear's strength was overwhelming. It was like a cannonball shot outward. The bear's paw was within a second. The power surged, forming a black mist. The massive shockwave not only shook its shoulder, it also directly impacted the spine. It crushed its 5 bones. The bear's roar was finally unleashed. The sound was extremely terrifying. It resembled a massive explosion. The bear leapt back. It crushed the 2 meters of the beast. It pressed down on a large piece of meat. It was in the water, frantically gathering. Only the left paw was struggling on the ground. The mouth was wide open. It was just grasping a black liquid. It only inhaled 10 breaths. It was completely still. It was a complete collapse. Even the head did not move. It just pressed down. It felt like being crushed. It did not stop at all. The counter was that bear's. It directly sent itself away. The bear continued to close its eyes. It continued to close its eyes. The bear's roar echoed. This bear was lying outside. It is good to give him the best care. Other monsters are lurking around. The same kind of deathly howl echoed. There was a sense of dread. He quickly avoided the area where the beast was. He turned to chase down those still running in the 4 directions. After a moment of chaos, the oppressive peak suddenly descended. A series of explosive sounds shattered the silence. Dozens of beams of light shot out, like a shooting star breaking through the heavens, accompanied by a fierce wind. The killing aura was firmly contained in the void. What was above was a black-bottomed bear. The inner gate's law enforcement was strict. The pressure from the base was released without any reservations. The lower levels were filled with chaotic energy. Monsters were crawling on the ground. He let out a roar. The order was to kill completely. Leave not a single one. Behind him, several law enforcement disciples simultaneously drew their weapons. The killing intent became a shadow, Coming back from the peak of hardship, a massive monster's head suddenly fell to the ground. These monsters in front were like the death gods. In front of the elite disciples, they were weak, like a large white vegetable on the ground. Not even half a cup of tea's time. Dozens of monsters were brutally killed. The law enforcement's cold and ruthless methods were clear. Rescue the injured. Gather the monsters' remains. The monsters and fur were sent back to the treasure vault. Clean up the scene. Rescue the injured. Gather the monsters' remains. The monsters and fur were sent back to the treasure vault. He finished speaking and went to chase the others. A few law enforcement disciples gathered to chase. The full moon was descending. The mist and the polluted land were in chaos. A tall disciple stood on one side. This peak was too steep. Just a few monsters could kill so many people. One side used their hands to open the path. Two people walked down the same path. They quickly arrived at the peak. At the edge of the dead man's pile, a tall disciple suddenly stopped. Pointing to the ground, the bear's remains were shown. Two people stood beside the giant's remains, looking at the broken half of the body, face to face, completely unable to understand how he could have killed himself. The tall disciple used a knife to cut that broken bone fragment. The bear's path was difficult to navigate. He had exhausted his strength. The right arm was completely broken. He had become a pile of sand. Another fat disciple stood far away, holding onto his nose. How could he die like this? A low-level monster was panicking. He was originally easy to walk. He took the useful materials and left. Two people were skillfully cutting the skin. They had calculated the bear's body. The fur and monster's remains were taken out. The fat disciple had also completed the left side. The bear's paw had entered his storage bag, calculating the late-night tasks. Just at that moment, the two were preparing to chase. Going down to another area, the dead man's pile suddenly turned, coming to a point of extreme weakness. The bear's roar echoed. The peak was catching the moment's attention. The full moon was in chaos. The body was like a big wave, using his hands to climb back. One side climbed while the other was terrified. Don't eat it, the meat is not good. That sidekick is a model of a ghostly creature. Simply put, it is worse than being a fool. The big brother glared at him. A cold laugh escaped. He went off to another place. The monster was utterly dead. Fate truly crushed him underfoot. Let him go manage the affairs of the medicine hall. Say what you want, both of them are watching. I can't bear to look at him again. The blade glimmered as it rose. The ghost ship was docked in the water, watching the blade fly far away. The fear on his face was palpable. He slowly pulled a blade from his face. The scene was set. This place is a monster's lair. He was bent over for half a moment. The hard peak suffered a heavy blow. Arriving at the designated spot, the light is busy collecting all day long. A big day is coming. The face of Zhao Tishan was worse than death. He was responsible for the area, and several dozen were lost. The monster also stirred up a big mess. This account is definitely calculated on his head. For the sake of peace of mind, the old man broke the sky. He pulled a handful of gold down. The ghost ship was mixed in with the team. He deliberately made himself look like a fool, walking along the road, one step at a time. The eyes were wandering. In his mouth, a bear was still growling. He turned to him. The task of issuing coins. He flipped through the flower name book. He looked at him with a mocking gaze. Registered as a disaster survivor. He was terrified. Gave him 10 pieces of stone. 2 jars of blood were drained. Resting for 3 days without doing anything. He pulled out a hand that was covered in blood. He held the dead child in his heart. 1,000 thanks for the exit. 10 pieces of stone. Talking about the situation. This is a giant. In normal times, he was exhausted. A month also passed with several disasters. He did not even notice the mistakes. He directly took the hard work. He was at the front of the mountain. He now has a body of attributes, but the body is still weak. If he does not suppress these attributes, the deepest place will meet true masters. A family of techniques has come. There is nothing outside. The inner layer may be shaken. He needs another large-scale body reconstruction. He arrived at the place. The ghost ship directly sank the low-level materials. The 10 pieces of stone were pushed to the top. He needs to push 5 nets of the hottest blood, 10 bundles of broken bones and iron grass. All the years are the most sufficient. The medicine bag is watching this, wearing the uniform of the little brother. He sighed, but there is no money to earn. The little brother completely wrapped up the east. He bought the materials. The ghost ship was running along the edge. He returned to that place. He opened the bed. He jumped into that 3-meter deep pit. He jumped into the pit. He held the previous stone full of poison. The little heart was beating fast. He pulled out something from the storage bag. He did not know where the big tree head came from. He was standing in the middle of the pit. Break the 10 bags of broken bones and leather. The immortal grass fully enters the wooden crate. Once again, extract a drop of blood from the fiery demon. Flames rise from beneath the wooden crate. Not long after, the dark red liquid of the wooden crate begins to splatter. A sharp wind assaults the air. The pungent aroma attacks the nasal passages. Medicinal scents swirl in the air. Usually, a layer of corrected lingual fusion. Jumping into this kind of greasy medicinal pond, it will definitely be struck by sudden impact. But the faint realm is not sustainable. Both of them have gone out for a while, and that document also poses hidden dangers. The inner armor also been dismantled at one corner. Deep inhale. The slender body steps into the medicated liquid. Just one step in. It is like countless roots swarming around. In the frenzy of sending arrows, within the fiery demon's nest, the raging force dominates the demonic destiny. Both hands are round amidst the chaos. In the sea of chaos, there is a vague noise. Let the surface fully collapse. The surface responds to commands. Initiate deep reorganization, and give a warning. The process is perplexing and painful. Please maintain clarity. The medicinal liquid has perfectly formed. The neutralization and compacting is the best. The strong toxins on the surface are subdued. Negative consequences are starting to meld. The boat passed through that medicated sediment, properly grounded for 2 days and 2 nights. Those extreme vital medicines have to face powerful defenses. Not a shred of residual energy currently on his surface still shows that. Surface yellow and thin broadcast a little feedback, but in reality, this degree of bone has already been reached. Hit to the steps instructed by someone. Thick and firm toxin results gathered as one. Currently letting him go after refining. No need to move. Directly take off the helmet of the past. Can smash back the damaged edge. Deep night. The clouds cover the moon but the stars cannot be seen. Outside the common peak, a patch of dark forests. A bug voice also echoes in a strange insect. Lost a mesh of white figures in the black cover. Scramble away from the trees. A crashing sound came from inside the pond. An open mouth is emitting gas. In the air, it swirls a little bit. Extreme sharpness with a sour taste. He bites into the edge. Sky-insured textile work became this fierce. Borrowing the faint moonlight, can see his half-covered face. A layer of dark black color ensnares. The right corner has a visible sharp spine. The edges cusp, under the control of delicate air. At the mouth edge, it cannot keep melding. He is a demon repairer. Red demon, breathing pattern repairs, originally entering the realm of respect, wanting to secretly see the quality population outside. As a result, just started to be forced away. The inner gate execution pressed down. 3 were taken to the chase. The bottom board is expelled. Solid life rejected into disaster. This scene no one can guide painfully. Enchanting demon is overloaded. Demonic energy almost suffocated. No longer search for a blood bag. Today is not acceptable to replace in here. He has a pair of red triangles on his face like a wolf. Similarly dead, staring at wherever happens. He is currently running like a shadow. No escaping the divine protection of the heavens. I urgently need to find a substitute for the sheep. The energy is recovering from the damage. Putting the black robe on the opponent. Creating a fake image of a devastating blow. Borrowing this golden insect's shell. The red demon's gaze is at the edge of Kui Peak. That one group broke through the wooden house. Fixing the high ground is not feasible. It is easy to trigger a sudden movement. The dense gathering of residents is not feasible. It is easy to incite group panic. Suddenly, his line of sight is set at the corner. The most destructive angle is on that wooden house. That is indeed the residence of the demon. The red demon chuckles. It is a mouthful of chaos. That wooden house is facing the storm, looking like a disaster that has not been managed for 6,800 years. The absolute inside is a continuous chain. It is the lowest level of edible creatures. He has a shape like a ghost, like a night owl that flies in the air, silently grasping the wooden house's door. He does not have any recommendations. The divine recognition is surrounding the wooden house. What kind of law movement is not present? It is just a piece of wood. It can be acidic. The area of the demon's domain is at the 50th level. The energy flow from the solidified wall is blocked. In the red demon's breath, the repairer's eyes are fixed. This is just a common destructive house. He dislikes the sound of recommendations, directly pulling out a piece of red paper from the memory, captured on himself. The whole person is momentarily transformed. The dark black shadow is moving under the door. Like water flowing, it slides in. 50 levels of solidified walls prevent the creatures, but it does not prevent this kind of shadowy situation. The demon is walking forward, looking at the ground. It has already broken the air. The eyes are still lingering with the red demon. This kind of breath after the demon's repair is strange. It must be left in the house. Absolutely a big trouble. The blood taste is too heavy. Tomorrow morning, there will definitely be management or legal teams coming. He does not let go of the right hand pressed down. The red demon's body is receiving orders. The surface is bulging out, testing the high density of the energy and blood mixture currently being taken. The target is to die. Currently entering the separation quality. Recommending refinement. Following the surface's purple light, it burns. On the ground, those two pieces can't withstand the pressure. The same flow of blood is coming out. The broken inner skin. Even on his body, that black robe. Starting with the speed visible to the naked eye. Not reaching 10 seconds of time. A big person has disappeared. Even one drop of blood is not left. What replaces it is the demon's heart. A small red color powder comes out. This powder spreads out extremely. Pure energy of grass and wood. Completely not smelling any blood. This is a breath of the demon's repair. All repairs are made of harmony and blood. The refinement. The demon's hand is dropping the red demon. A storage bag is hidden in the memory. Then looking for a broken cloth to cover this. The powder is small and tightly wrapped. Following his hand, the smooth wooden board is broken. Using a few roots and iron to seal it well. Casually adding a few pieces of the law on it. Completing this piece. The edge of the sky is just right to catch a fish. The second day, the arrival of the spirit pool waves is happening at Kui Peak. Last night, that strange magical energy from the 8th level has already been intercepted. He has formed a luscious flower laden with spirit energy, stuck in the deepest part of the spirit pool. A few months later, the spirit pool is suffering from bad weather. The only one responsible for the arrival of the spirit pool is that strange area. With a long crack, the chaos spread. It breaks the peace, like a little tree but similar. Devastated by the spirit pool's gold and yellow overflowing. A few of those spirit monsters want to wash out the water. The supervisor Zhao Tishan is stationed at the top of the field, looking at this picture of rich harvest, a smile on his face, grim like pork belly. He smashed the heaven-piercing shield with the ladder, a half-smashed stone in his hand. You really nailed it. The land here was not only filled with the previous vacant lot. That allowed me to have a face at the top. From now on, I will be dead in this area. Who dares to find the spirit wave again? Just report my name. The spiritual wave is a double-handed break over that half-smashed rock, holding onto a foot with a smile. Sorry, supervisor, I just could not resist. This person has no wild heart, just like playing with the friendly gang, waiting for Zhao Tishan to slap me far away. The spiritual wave can stir up the waste. I subsequently pushed the half-smashed rock away. He took the nearby long wooden stick. He brewed a large cauldron of spiritual water, unhurriedly flowing here. The spirit pool right in the center is the densest root of the spirit. Only a little can leak out. He can sense the dark red magical energy. That is the last trace of the red magic crystal left behind. However, this magical wave has just struck. He was then pulled down to the valley. A little bit of strength pushed out. Deadly suppression. In a moment of crushing, the spirit wave still split the ranks. In the heart of the spirit wave, the magical energy from the 8th level is indeed strong. Unfortunately, there is no way out. He hit the wood, captured the soup above, seemed to roll out a sticking point in the sea. Seeing a batch of batches going to the toe, high-level refiners are deeply suspicious. He fully showed off his hawk-like sharpness. The mountain to the front is also once again long needed. A few streams of light that flow through the tough landscape. That is the inner sect's heaven. Hitting a plume of flying teams gone. A new birth is happening from the inner sanctum. He looked up at the sky. Under the heavens, those rays of light, pinched and pinched. The moment of hesitation feels empty. Just strike out. They are pulling you to life. He re-entered the fighting field. The boundary is on the verge of collapse. This world of spirits is too deep. The wind wave is too strong. He is not falling anywhere. Just at this damning wind customs. Stretching out loud to garner wealth. Brilliantly falling down. The spirit wave changed over his body, sounding an unknown tune. Gently progressing through that gap. The 50th layer of sealed wood is where they went. The sun will make the weaker shadows out of the old long drops on the most favored little roads. No one noticed the worst eyes. The corner of the balcony covered a smile. Also nobody knows. At the bottom of this seat inside the temple, a strong tone shakes. The monsters have already become shapes. The matter just began.